Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Alright, welcome to Serving Nerve, the show where I talk about whatever I want, but I also mainly try to talk about being a restaurant server in the restaurant industry. Yes. Today we're going to be talking about my favorite thing about being in the restaurant industry, and that is getting mega sat. Now, you might know this, or you might not if you haven't worked in a restaurant before, but when it comes to being a restaurant server, you're usually given a section to operate, and sometimes there's going to be sections where you're not operating that section exclusively. You're operating other tables in the restaurant for whatever reason. It could be because you're short-staffed, or there are just extra tables in the restaurant that they have for pickup to balance things like rotation when you are being sat. Usually when it comes to being a restaurant server, you're going to have a rotation where all of the servers are sat at certain times to help balance who's getting a table and who's not getting a table. So it'll usually be first server in rotation, second server, third server, fourth server, etc. And then it'll go back to the first server to rotate table placements so that you can get a table started without being overwhelmed with a bunch of tables. And it also kind of helps if you are easily overwhelmed when it comes to being a server. But the thing about me is, ever since my first serving job, I've been the kind of person who wants at least like 5 tables at once. Like for me, getting mega sat as in sat immediately, double sat, triple sat, quadruple sat, which I have been before. It's like being sat with tables all at the same time. You don't have time to have a rotation. You're just suddenly sat with extra tables. And this can be because everybody else can't take a table, or this can be generally because you just happen to be placed with extra tables. Sometimes the hosts screw up, or they skip people in rotation, or they just decide, hey, these are the only 2 places in the restaurant to be sat, and both of these tables are in your section, so you're getting double sat. Now, the thing is, you can't just get double sat, of course. Usually, you're gonna get double sat, maybe triple sat, quadruple sat, which I have dealt with before. And the best thing is, god dang, getting triple sat is freaking amazing. But quadruple sat, that is insane. When it comes to getting sat more than once, you have to figure out how to sync up a greet for 4 tables, get water to 4 tables, have special requests given for those tables, then somehow circulate a drink order, and then on top of that, start getting food going, give recommendations. And the thing is, this doesn't sound that bad, but when you have to do it 4 times in a row, in a perfect sequence, whilst also having to calculate for people having specific things or additional requests, and you also have to do this in a timely manner because you have anywhere from 90 minutes to like 270 minutes to get these people in and out and satisfied. So it gets a little bit rough. Now the thing is, I have a really messed up backstory when it comes to being mega sat. In my first job, I was not taken very seriously because it was my first serving job. Was never well versed with serving before this. And I was always kind of belittled in regards to my position compared to other servers who'd been there longer for obvious reasons. Now, there was this one magical night where all of that changed, and it was when all of the other servers couldn't take an extra table, and there was a lot of pickup tables. So there's me in my restaurant operating a 4-table section, and then the hosts say, hey, can you take another table over here? Can you take another table over here? Can you take another table over here? And it ended up being a situation where, for a while, I was in the weeds. I was going, and I had 11 tables. And that is not supposed to happen. And my manager, I think, noticed this. But everything was perfect outside of me not being able to get extra tomato sauce to 1 table because I just had to go and deal with something else first. And it was like 8 minutes after I left the expo, trying to get this tomato sauce out. And they yelled at me at expo to get it after like the 8-minute mark. And yeah, it was totally my bad. But out of all the things I could have screwed up, given that this was the allergy restaurant where I also had to put in allergy information for every single table, it was pretty brutal. And it varied from like 2 tops to 4 tops to 3 tops, tons and tons of people. So, and I'm doing this all on one Friday night, one of the busiest nights of the week in our restaurant. So that was my very first job serving, and that was one of the first experiences I had with not being able to say no and getting mega sat. Now the thing is, I've never been good at saying no, especially when it comes to the prospect of getting more money. So usually, if I can take another table and I can't take another table, I'm always still gonna take the table. And that's a bad habit. But usually it pays in my favor, and these days it's not as bad as it used to be. I've gotten a lot better at serving, and I can sync up being, double sat, mega sat, whatever, really well, so that it doesn't impair my workflow as much as someone would expect. Now, the other thing is I used to work at this French bistro. when I first got to Dallas, or technically when I first got to Arlington and was working in Dallas. And the thing is, this place had no rotation. And I got quadruple sat on a Saturday night with a 14 top, 2 2-tops, and then a 3-top. I'm pretty sure it was a 3-top. It was either a 3 or a 4. And I had been repeatedly sat throughout the day, and we were coming to the end of the night, but I somehow synced up the perfect flow, all within like a minute and 30 seconds to 2 minutes. All of the people came at once, and they decided to seat them all at once because we had no rotation. And that was fun, but this is the thing. It's like, for me, I love the panic that comes with being mega sat. And I have a feeling it has something to do with the fact that upon initial placement of multiple tables at once, you feel severe anxiety and panic to get everything figured out. But as you progress and figure it out, and it works out for you because you work your booty cheeks off, you overcome the anxiety, and you also are incentivized through getting paid. So it goes from you having anxiety and not making money to you making a ton of money, and then also having a deliverance from said anxiety. So I feel like it's almost like a weird version of like self-gratification or satisfaction that comes with it, which is why I think serving's kind of an intoxicating sort of profession where it starts getting a little addictive like gambling, but it's also not exclusively like gambling. But it's kind of like gambling. Anyways, so a great example also is my Sunday night last week. So Sunday night, we have some pickup tables at the restaurant I currently work at, and I decide to accept a table from another server because I don't have a lot going on, and they're sat with bigger tables and stuff, so they're like, hey, you want to take this 4-top? It's in a pickup zone. Okay, so throughout the night, I basically rock a 5-table section instead of my designated 3-table section with 4 4-tops and a 2-top. So basically, at my current restaurant, this same situation unfolded on a Sunday night, and it was outstanding. It was everything I wanted, and I made a boatload of money as a result of it, which is the incentivization that comes with you being able to get mega sat and still work through it. You need that money, you gotta get sat more than once. Okay, so here's the thing, is this day was kind of wild. This day was funky because I was not expecting it to get that busy, and I opened on Sunday. So I was expecting to kind of get cast aside, nothing too good happening for me, whatever. But I find myself in this 3-table section that's near the closing section. And there's 1 2-top over here. It's like a floor plan. There are also 2 tables below, like down here, that are for pickup. And there's a bunch of other pickup tables around the restaurant, but these ones are also the pickup tables that you will have me mentioning throughout the story because these were the pickup tables that I ended up picking up. So basically, I'm only given like 1 4-top over in one of these tables. I think it's over here. And then I have my 2-top right here. Then my coworker gets sat with a 4-top down here, but he doesn't want it, so I take it. And then I'm also sat with a 4-top right here and a 4-top right here. So I basically have 2 4-tops here, 2 4-tops here, and 1 2-top there. And it was kind of a nightmare because I was in the weeds for like 4.5 hours. But throughout this time, this table that my, fellow coworker was going to have racked their bill to like $1,200 and got 2 specialty bottles of wine that I really wanted to sell. It's the highest price point for wine that I've ever sold so far, so I'm really excited about that. And then I also managed to sell more wine and a bunch of specialty cuts, and I left the whole night with like hundreds of dollars. It was awesome. And that saved my booty cheeks because my payroll looks terrible because I'm not getting very many shifts these days. My boss said he was gonna give me like the D priority shifts. So we're thinking here like Thursdays, Sundays, Mondays, things like that. Less priority than a Saturday and a Friday where we'll be really busy in the restaurant. But alas, it is what it is. But when it comes to this whole situation, I've managed to still like upsell a lot and make a lot of money on the days that we're not supposed to be making tons of money because I've been getting lucky. And it's not good to rely on your luck, but if you're lucky, then use it. Because honestly, like, if you're gonna not get like the priority shifts, you can still make a lot of money on the less priority shifts. It's just luck of the draw. Now, the thing is, I also have managed to sell about 10 bottles of wine of varying price ranges, from $100 to $350 per bottle, and sell specialty cuts every single night from the 6 shifts that I've been working ever since my boss had that talk with me that resulted in like 2 videos being put on my channel about me like going like, oh my god, I'm gonna get fired. And the thing is, My manager was not there on Sunday, and thank God he wasn't, because I don't think he would have allowed me to get those extra tables. I could be wrong, but I feel like he's kind of worried that I'd screw it up somehow, so he would probably only give me like 75% of what I had. You know what I mean? And technically it was opportunistic, and I wasn't supposed to get that other table, the one that racked itself to like $1,200, but I did, so that was great. So that was my night, and it was a panic the whole night. You know, as soon as I got sat with that table down there, those couple tables down there, it was a lot. It was probably like 4.5 hours of me running around trying to catch up with all my tables. But I got tipped, I got paid, and therefore I dipped after, and I did not get spayed. And it was pretty good. And this is the thing, it's at some point when you're serving, you're gonna have to take the L and really get out of your comfort zone in terms of what you think you can do as a server. Because once you start doing that, you realize getting double sat doesn't matter. Triple sat doesn't matter. Quadruple sat doesn't matter. When it comes to it, at the end of the day, the better you are at being efficient when it comes to you like serving people, the more you're going to be able to get away with in the long run. Not to be like conniving or anything, but the more you're going to be able to just get done in one allotment of time, and you're going to be able to, you know, move forward faster. So usually as a server, I can get away with getting out pretty early compared to other servers, because I usually plan out my side work throughout the shift, and I also plan out my closing side work before I'm even cut. Like, I usually will just make sure I know what it is, and then as soon as I'm not getting tables anymore, or the tables for the night have stopped, I can just get everything done and I can leave within like an hour. Unless somebody decides to stay, which is fine, it is what it is. But generally speaking, it is not that bad, and I like it, but I really don't want to be a server forever because that's a terrible idea. In spite of me liking serving and finding it to be a more palatable experience or work than another kind of job, it's still not what I want to do at the end of the day. So it's definitely one of those temporary things, and the industry, again, people just phase through it like that, and I know I've talked about that before. Not to act like a loose cannon and that I'm going to quit my job immediately, but I suspect I'll probably get fired before I quit. So it doesn't really matter that much either way. But saying that, I'm pretty sure that me getting my sales up to like $4,000 on like my last shift made my boss realize that I should be put on a Saturday or two. So that was the dealio bop. Yeah. So yeah, that was just a quick update regarding my current antics, but also regarding getting mega sat. As a server, you kind of have to get used to like the imploding anxiety of being sat with more than you think you can take, and you just have to deal with it. And it's like the randomness of life, you know? Like, it doesn't make that much sense, but I'm just saying, like, the randomness of life is comparable to the randomness that you might experience being a server at a certain restaurant. It's not all restaurants, but there are a lot of restaurants where just random things happen and you just have to kind of roll with the punches and deal with it. And it's really not that hard. Like, I'm not trying to act like it's a big deal or like, oh, it's crazy, oh my god, it's wild. It's just stressful, and it just plays on your emotions. It's a very emotional job. And it drives you a little wackadoodle, and only wacky people can really thrive in those environments. Thank goodness I'm unhinged and psychologically damned. But, you know, the reality is that I just wanted to point out, yeah, getting triple sat, mega sat, double sat, quadruple sat, some people hate it. Some servers absolutely detest the prospect of not having more than 3 tables and having a synchronicity of those tables getting sat at a perfect time in rotation. Then there are other servers who will just take anything because they need money and they want it, and they don't care if it means getting quadruple sat or whatever. That's more what I'm at. I do not care what it takes. I want to get paid as much as I can get paid, so I will get sat as much as possible, and that is my mindset, which is also not good. They're both double-edged swords. 1, you have more stability. 2, you have no stability. Everything's crazy, but you make money, hopefully, depending on where you work. So yeah, that's the dealio bop. If you're a server, tell me what you think in the comments below, or if you're not a server, tell me what you think in the comments below. It's an interesting game, like, that's the thing. Serving's kind of like a video game. It's like a multitasking, bird's eye view. It's like a multitasking, bird's eye view RPG where you have to roleplay as a server who has to get all these tasks done in a time-limited manner, and also sync everything up so that your managers don't yell at you in the end of the day. Like, it's a pretty interesting composition of play. And actually, you know, when I get to be a good programmer, I'm definitely gonna make a game for it, because then you'll know exactly what I'm talking about with the things that I've done. But yeah, I have some good ideas for this game, so I think I'm gonna work on that. I think I'm gonna work on that today, along with a bunch of other professional dealio bops that I gotta deal with so that I can become more competent in society. But that was the video. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you for putting up with me on this channel. And tell me what you want to see, like, video-wise, because, you know, if you haven't noticed, I'll just throw up a video of, like, me doing all kinds of random things, because I have nothing consistent to apply myself to. If you give me content, you won't see a bunch of random content thrown on the channel anymore. I mean, you might see it still, because I can't help myself, and I love doing random things and making a joke of my existence, but at the same time, if there's something specific you, my people, want to see, you can just shoot me the link. I do have a Twitter and a Instagram, and I don't use them very often, but I also have a Patreon, and I also have a YouTube. You can always just comment on YouTube. And yeah, just give me ideas. Just throw them out there. If you are not so inclined, by all means, then continue watching the train wreck that is me, and I hope you all enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching, my people. I hope you all enjoyed, and I will see you next time. It has been lovely, and yeah, Slater.